My name is H.A. Goodman, and I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. I want you to share this segment, please, with everybody you know who's interested in today's MSNBC interview of Sam Nunberg, a Trump advisor who was subpoenaed by Robert Mueller for communication, emails, text messages going back to 2015 with Roger Stone and a whole bunch of other people. Sam Nunberg is a hero. The hashtag defend Sam Nunberg or support Sam Nunberg or Sam Nunberg hero should be trending. Why? Because if you were targeted by the Mueller probe and they demanded all sorts of communication from you, your first response should be, based on what evidence am I accused of, or am I accused of a crime, number one? What evidence do you have of Trump-Russia collusion? Did you have any evidence of Russia hacking the DNC? Is the NSA certain, or are they moderately confident? Is the Steele dossier verified or unverified? Why is BuzzFeed suing the DNC? For evidence to corroborate something it published last year. It's battling defamation lawsuits. It'll be sued into oblivion by 5 people, as will Fusion GPS. But the point is, there's no evidence for any of this. The Mueller probe had a specific mission statement: Trump-Russia collusion and Russia hacking into the DNC. Then it morphed into parking tickets and stolen Snickers bars when Manafort was 7 years old. The crimes that Manafort and Rick Gates were indicted on have more to do with them paying the Podesta Group from offshore accounts. The Podesta Group worked with Rick Gates very closely for 2 years because they both lobbied on behalf of a pro-Putin Center for a Modern Ukraine. This is a pro-Putin lobbying group in the Ukraine. The Russian internet trolls, they were indicted by Mueller, and their ads, this is the Facebook CEO, the Facebook Vice President of Advertising stated, their ads were seen and purchased after the election. Not one vote was changed. Not one vote was changed from this alleged Russian meddling that has nothing to do with Trump. Trump didn't get peed on by a hooker while he wrote a check to Russian hackers. And if he did, nobody has yet found the urine-stained Trump check to Russian hackers that was peed on by a Russian prostitute. That never happened. It's all conjured up in the mind of Bill Clinton, which is probably his past, not Trump's past. But let's just go ahead. Sam Nunberg is awesome. And he's had enough. He's not going to take it anymore. He's not Manafort. He's not Rick Gates. He didn't go ahead. He's not accused of a crime. He hasn't committed crimes. He's not even alleged to have been part of any conspiracy, criminal conspiracy, or conspiracy to collude with Russia. There's no evidence, there's no justification to ask him for anything. And he's telling Mueller to F off. He's had enough. I've had enough. You've had enough. And whereas he was a darling on MSNBC, now he's had enough because he was subpoenaed. And he realizes how insane all of this is. He also states categorically that Trump didn't collude with Russia. It's a joke. But of course, the way the media spins it, they don't use that quote. But you'll hear everything. This is amazing. And no offense to Katie Tur. She's a great journalist or great, personality at MSNBC. But it's no offense at all to anyone at MSNBC. I appeared on MSNBC warning the world that Clinton loses in 2016, but whatever. Twice, actually. Once in 2015, then 2016. This is Sam Nunberg. Absolutely brilliant.
Trump campaign aide Sam Nunberg has been called before the grand jury, now says he will refuse to go and says he'll refuse to cooperate with handing over any documents. Sam, you joined me on the phone. Are you there?
Hi, Katie. How are you?
Why are you saying no?
Because what they sent me was absolutely ridiculous. They wanted every email I had with Roger Stone and with Steve Bannon. Why should I hand them emails from November 1st, 2015? I was thinking about this today, Katie. I was preparing it. Should I spend 50 hours?
So I saw on Twitter, I don't know if this is the case, but TYT Live, they've spun this. Well, this is on Twitter what somebody said. They've spun this into, oh, Sam Nunberg seems desperate. The conspiracy theorists on YouTube that are parroting, that are basically subsidiaries of MSNBC and CNN, the Washington Post, and the New York Times, same people who cheated Bernie, then went after Trump with a ridiculous Russian hacking nonsense narrative. They don't realize that the guy is fighting back. It takes some courage to fight back. So he's not desperate. He's actually quite heroic. Desperation is going after Sam Nunberg and internet trolls to try to say that in Russia that they'll never get extradited here, into some kind of narrative and spin that Russia meddled in the election. Hillary Clinton was reviled. She lost Wisconsin. Wisconsin hasn't voted for a Republican since 1984. She lost Michigan and Pennsylvania, haven't voted for Republicans since 1988. A Republican president. A million reasons. And in 2015, before all the Russian hacking nonsense, which never took place, it was a leak, not a hack, and before everything, I was stating that Clinton could not win. And yet there's still idiots on Reddit are like, H.A. Goodman never predicted anything. Yeah, I did. Tell people on Reddit that I was... You don't have to. I'm just saying. If you're on Reddit, somebody says, you don't even need to go there. Reddit's its own world. I was right on virtually everything, or at least I had the pulse on everything that went on. Bernie would have won a fair primary. Clinton would have been indicted, but she was too stupid to indict, and there was a cover-up with Peter Strzok. She will get indicted eventually. We all know this. And the Russian nonsense was a complete fabrication. There was no DNC. There was no DNC hack. And in 2015, in the Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, this YouTube channel, and on appearances on MSNBC and CNN, I stated that Clinton could not win. But here is Sam Nunberg. Oh, why am I? Okay.
I had with Roger. They wanted every email I had with Roger Stone and with Steve Bannon. Why should I hand them emails from November 1st, 2015? I was thinking about this today, Katie. I was preparing it. Should I spend 50 hours going over all my emails with Roger and with Steve Bannon? And then they wanted emails that I had with Hope Hicks, with Corey Lewandowski. Are you giving me a break? It's ridiculous.
This is the special counsel. He's investigating Donald Trump.
Okay, so the great part, this is a special counsel. It's like, okay, that's irrelevant. This is a special counsel is not a rebuttal to, it's ridiculous, I'm not even accused of a crime. Where's the evidence of any Russian collusion with Trump? This probe is supposed to be about Russian hacking and Russia collusion with Russia. I have nothing to do with either, and both allegations have no evidence to back them up. Why should I produce records? Just because Mueller asks? And the kind of, this is a special counsel. Like, yes, so what? The FBI email probe was an actual probe that committed, where crimes were committed. Crimes were actually committed, and Hillary Clinton was let off the hook simply because it was a massive cover-up. And Comey stated, and now he has this book, Higher Power, Comey stated, she was too stupid to indict. I didn't see that she intentionally committed crimes, although the crimes were there. 110 emails were born classified when she received them, and she had top secret and special access and program intelligence on a server that was once unencrypted. These are actual specific crimes. She was the subject of a criminal probe. This is not a criminal probe. So Sam Nunberg is right. Why should he go ahead and give his communication from 2015? For what? Based on what? Whose authority? On what jurisdiction, authority, basis, legal justification? For what? Because Mueller thinks there might be something? That's not how you investigate. It's not how you investigate if there's no crime committed. If you haven't accused someone of a specific crime, Trump isn't even accused of a specific crime: treason, writing a check, communicating with Russian hackers, and trying to get some kind of outcome, money flowing into the Trump Foundation. Nothing. He's not accused of a specific crime. So why should Sam Nunberg play ball with Mueller? It took this guy, Sam Nunberg, to completely expose the absurdity of all of this. So it's just unbelievable. So let's continue with Sam Nunberg.
You know what, Mr. Mueller? You
sat with him a week ago, or a week and a half ago, and did that make you change your opinion of this investigation, that you don't want to cooperate?
I'm not going to cooperate when they want me to when they want me to come into a grand jury for them to insinuate that Roger Stone was colluding with Julian Assange. Roger is my mentor.
Okay, so WikiLeaks and Julian Assange have consistently stated they have nothing to do with Roger Stone in terms of some important communication or whatever. There was no collusion between Roger Stone and WikiLeaks. Roger Stone was not a part of any of the DNC email publishing of the DNC or Podesta emails or any emails that WikiLeaks has published. Okay, so that they're grasping at straws with every allegation, at least with the Clinton scandals, which should be first and foremost on everyone's mind. Doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, because Democrats and progressives are so stupid. They don't realize that the one thing holding the Democratic Party back, and progressive policies, and the entire movement on the left, the two people holding them back are Bill and Hillary Clinton. They don't get that. They think it's just politics as usual. It's just politics. It's not. When you have two people, one in particular, and Hillary, who actually did commit crimes, and their crimes are swept under the rug, but then this guy, Sam Nunberg, is being harassed by Mueller, a guy who has no... Did you even know who Rick Gates was before the election, or Sam Nunberg? You knew who Uma Abedin was. You knew who Brian Pagliano was, pretty much, if you followed the case. He set up the email server. And it wasn't just emails, it was top secret intelligence, special access program intelligence. Espionage Act, U.S. Code 793F, even with gross negligence, you still get indicted. There's a crime there. That's what I'm trying to say. Sam Nunberg is telling Mueller to go F himself. There's no crime. And Katie Tur at MSNBC is doing her best to try to legitimize an actual witch hunt. This is... Let's continue.
Roger's like family to me. I'm not going to do it.
What has happened in the last 24 hours that's made you change your mind on this?
When I was going over everything today, when I looked at the subpoena, this was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, as you well know. Katie, do you know that?
You've said it.
I'm not a fan.
So she doesn't... She's just really upset. They're really pissed at MSNBC. So they've had this guy on like 4 or 5 times where he's just, bagging on Trump. And I'm, his former advisor, and he's a horrible guy, and da-da-da-da. And then he's like, well, you know that I don't really like Trump. She's like, you've said it. God, won't testify. Idiot. So here's Nunberg going on. And in actually 2 minutes and 40 seconds in, this is 1 minute and 56 seconds, but 2 minutes and 40 seconds in, that has to be a ringtone. He goes and says the complete thing, the notion that Trump would collude with Russia is a joke.
Fan of his. He treated Roger and me very badly, and he screwed us over during the campaign. But here, when I get a subpoena like this, Roger's right, it's a witch hunt. I mean, Mr. Trump's right, the president's right, it's a witch hunt.
The president's right. So those aren't the headlines you see, because everything is spun. But when you actually listen or read the indictments or listen to the ex-Trump aide Sam Nunberg, you actually see what's really happening, what he really said. He doesn't believe any of the Russia hacking or the Russia collusion nonsense, and furthermore, he's not going to comply. First, a subpoena, like it's the law. Yeah, tell that to Brian Pagliano. He didn't comply with the subpoena from Jason Chaffetz. Basically ripped it up. What about the subpoena of evidence from Platte River? Lots of people around the Clinton email investigation were subpoenaed, and they didn't do anything. They literally just ripped up their subpoenas. So suddenly Sam Nunberg, a guy who has nothing to do with any of this, has to comply because, oh my God, they need to stay relevant. This is all about Mueller staying relevant. If he's not relevant, then all of this is a sham, it's a farce. All of it is smoke and mirrors, which it is. But you have everybody from CNN to the Young Turks saying, oh, it's just a matter of time. And then you and I are the fringe because we're actually thinking rationally and we know what's really going on. This is all a Trump-Russia, this is a therapy session. It's an ongoing, never-ending therapy session for disgruntled Democrats. Just look at, for example, Cenk Uygur's election night meltdown. It's the stuff of legends. Look at Rachel Maddow's election night meltdown. These people had their lives crushed, their reality shattered. Imagine a cult member realizing that the cult leader is just not only a normal human being, but a thief, a scoundrel, a phony. So, and that's like psychologically damaging for people. So they need to believe this. Whereas 2 shots in the back, a botched robbery, and questions about Seth Rich's murder, which is a murder, that is spun into a conspiracy theory because there's no possible way 2 weeks after he was not only DNC staffer, the head of voting at the DNC. So he wasn't just a staffer. And that has nothing to do with anything but 2 shots in the back, low-level crime, nothing taken. The police have his laptop for some unknown reason, or either the DC police or the federal government, and the FBI is involved. And why would the FBI be involved in a botched robbery? And Rod Wheeler has stated consistently, even on MSNBC, when he was explaining that he was suing Fox, that he never backtracked on anything. He thinks that there is very likely a connection, that it's plausible, or there could have been a connection. He didn't know. He wanted to talk about it. Nobody wanted to hear it. The conspiracy theory is that it was a botched robbery. Then you have Kim.com literally stating, yes, it was Seth Rich. He leaked the DNC emails. So you have somebody who is viewed as a threat by New Zealand and the U.S., so in terms of his legitimacy, he's viewed as this big threat because he created Mega Download and he had $100+ million fortune. But suddenly, he's not reputable because he counters the establishment myth that it was a botched robbery. And in 2015, he foreshadowed the DNC emails long before the Russian hacking narrative took place. But see, I bring up Seth Rich because you have a situation where there's a murder, and there are things that don't make sense, and it's plausible that there's something to do with the Democratic Party. That's a plausible viewpoint. It's not a conspiracy theory. The conspiracy theory is that, yes, Clinton pulled the trigger, which I've never stated, ever. That's why my channel is in good standing, because I link to reputable sources, or sources that are considered reputable by Hamilton 68. And I play MSNBC recordings or whatever. I mean, it's like I simply use the public record against the people who were spinning everything into this completely ludicrous fantasy. Getting back to Nunberg, here is why this guy is a hero. One of the reasons it's coming up.
I'm not going to cooperate. What do I have to spend 80 hours going over my emails that I've had with Steve Bannon and with Roger Stone? What does Bob Mueller need to see my emails when I send Roger and Steve clips and we talk about how much we hate people?
Sam, you were on the campaign early on. You were there when Donald Trump was deciding to announce he wanted to run for president.
Donald Trump did not collude with the Russians. It is the biggest joke to ever think Donald Trump colluded with the Russians. I can tell you.
Did you hear that? Not many people. You're not gonna go ahead and hear and read many headlines. Sam Nunberg, Donald Trump did not collude with the Russians. It's the biggest joke. That needs to be turned into like a ringtone.
Early on, you were there when Donald Trump was deciding to announce he wanted to run for president.
Donald Trump did not collude with the Russians. It is the biggest joke to ever think Donald Trump colluded with the Russians. I can tell you, Donald Trump, when he
deciding to announce he wanted to run for president.
Donald Trump did not collude with the Russians. It is the biggest joke to ever think Donald Trump colluded with the Russians. I can tell you.
One more time.
Sam, you were on the campaign early on. You were there when Donald Trump was deciding to announce he wanted to run for president.
Donald Trump did not collude with the Russians. It is the biggest joke to ever think Donald Trump colluded with the Russians.
Donald Trump did not collude with the Russians. It is the biggest joke to ever think that Donald Trump colluded with the Russians. Yes, Sam Nunberg is 100% right. So, you have a situation here. Okay, and Sam Nunberg's a guy who was on CNN and MSNBC. They loved him because he basically told them what they wanted to hear. Then they flipped the script on him, and he then became a citizen who was targeted. And then he realized that all of this is nonsense, and that he probably shouldn't have helped prop up the machine, and that no, he finally came to his senses, and he's not complying. Donald Trump did not collude with the Russians. It's a complete joke. That's what he said. But to think, then going back, all of this, the backdrop is that in 2015, GCHQ spied on Trump. I keep on explaining that every YouTube segment. They've wiretapped Manafort. They've spied on Carter Page. Susan Rice unmasked names. They wiretapped Flynn. They found nothing. The DNC never even gave its computer servers to the FBI. The NSA is moderately confident, and the ODNI and DHS reports come with warranty disclaimers. I keep saying that, and I'll say that forever. Their assessments, there's nothing there. There's no evidence of any collusion, any hacking, any Russian involvement with Trump. So they're grasping at straws, whereas Clinton actually did commit crimes. All of this is not about... There's no... The word obsession, or there are really stupid people out there who say, AJ is obsessed with this issue. He can't stop talking about Clinton. It's not a matter of... It could be anyone. If anyone was very powerful and continually committed crimes, it's not a matter of Hillary Clinton. Oh my God. She has to be in jail because she's Clinton. No. She just happened to commit a lot of crimes. A great many crimes. And there's an FBI criminal investigation where the FBI doesn't do its job, just like it didn't do its job recently. We don't have to go there. Just like in many cases it doesn't do its job, focusing on a ridiculous Russian hacking non-event. And she gets away with everything. The Democratic Party gets away with cheating Bernie Sanders. The Democrats are the kings of corruption, kings and queens of corruption. And the media is completely and utterly beholden to them. And yet they still couldn't stop Trump. They cheated Bernie. There was an FBI cover-up. They had a Trump-Russia collusion nonsense fantasy. And they still lost on November 8th, 2016, after outspending him 2-1. And now they can't beat him. They know they can't beat him on policy, because a lot of their policies are really not that much different. He was a Democrat most of his life. Or at least a lot of his value system. We can go on forever about that. He gave more money to Democrats than Republicans up until 5 or 6 years ago. But let's continue with Sam Nunberg.
Tell you, Donald Trump, when he was involved in conservative politics, it did not help his business. Okay? Donald Trump did not want to attack Hillary Clinton. early on in the campaign. He only wanted to attack Jeb Bush because it wasn't going to be good for him, and had he not won the primary, he was probably going to endorse Hillary Clinton.
Sam, you were...
Had he not won the primary, he was probably going to endorse Hillary Clinton. Had he not won the primary, he was probably going to endorse Hillary Clinton. Let's hear that again.
Donald Trump did not want to attack Hillary Clinton early on in the campaign. He only wanted to attack Jeb Bush because it wasn't going to be good for him, and had he not won the primary, he was probably going to endorse Hillary Clinton.
Sam, you were...
So, whether or not he would, that's another interesting comment. So you can't go ahead and say that then when the indictments hit, they're going to say, oh my God, he's a tyrant. Well, Sam Nunberg thinks he probably would have voted for Clinton. He's just following laws when the indictments take place. But let's go ahead and continue.
On
not
this campaign,
going to go over my emails. I'm not going to spend 80 hours because a bunch of FBI agents and a bunch of U.S. attorneys want me to harass me. And here's the thing: they've already bankrupted people, Katie. They've bankrupted other people with this. Sean Spicer has big legal bills. Josh Rafael has big legal bills. Everybody has.
Hold on, Sam. You were on our air on MSNBC just last week saying the Russia investigation was not a waste of time. That this was not a waste of taxpayer money.
So you see, that's just how irrelevant the Russia investigation is to everyone. They need validation. So you have an MSNBC host stating, oh, but you were just here and you said it wasn't a waste of taxpayer money. Everyone knows it's a waste of taxpayer money. Even the people who want the investigation to go on know they're not going to find anything. Trump didn't collude with Russia. Most of the Democrats who are pushing this myth, they don't care whether or not Trump colluded. They just want him out of office. Just like Sam Cedar admitted to when Tim Black debated Sam Cedar, he's like, yeah, well, I know probably nothing took place with Trump and Russia, but it's good for my side. People don't care. So Tim got Sam to admit that. And people don't care. They just think it's politics as usual, but it's not. This is an investigation based on hearsay and gossip. The Trump-Russia dossier is complete garbage. Even Bob Woodward stated it's a garbage document. Let's continue.
You were adamant about that. So what has changed? What has changed, Sam, in the last 24 hours or last week where you've decided not to do this?
When I got the subpoena, it was ridiculous to me. The subpoena is absolutely ridiculous. Why should I hand them over every email I've had with Steve Bannon or Roger Stone since November? And since November of 2015? Give me a break.
Sam, what about those who might look at this and say you have something to hide, or there's something that you don't want to reveal because now you're saying you're not going to cooperate?
So you mean like 30,000 deleted emails before retroactive classification? Something to hide? The least transparent person on the planet is Hillary Clinton. And the people who say, don't talk about Clinton, they're actually obsessed. Because if it wasn't important to them, they wouldn't defend both Clintons. So it's actually the people who don't want to talk about Clinton crimes who are obsessed, who are defensive, who feel there's something wrong with talking about a walking criminal. They talk about Trump. There's Trump derangement syndrome based on nothing. What's referred to as Clinton derangement syndrome is actually, people are pissed off that she actually committed crimes in plain sight and didn't get. And I keep on bringing back that subtext because Sam Nunberg has nothing to do with any of the allegations. He's actually fighting back. It is important. It isn't. And if I, beat this topic and I just beat it to the ground and continually kind of focus on specific points. It's because you have a person here who's fighting back. He is not accused of anything. He's not accused of a crime. There's no evidence of any crimes. All of this is based on hearsay and gossip, and he doesn't want to go ahead and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees because he's not accused of any crimes, and the Mueller probe is now all-encompassing. Instead of the Russia investigation, it is the investigation into, when you stole a Snickers bar when you were 7 years old, and parking tickets, and jaywalking. It has it's just basically trying to ruin people under the guise of Trump-Russia collusion, which never took place. Under the guise of Russian hacking, which never took place. Under the guise of, WikiLeaks working to harm Clinton, which never took place. They published emails that were written by Clinton, Podesta, Robbie Moog, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and it was the corruption within those emails, written by the grubby little hands of Clinton and all her inner circle, including Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Donna Brazile and Brian Fallon, all of them. Those emails did them in. That is the issue. The corruption is why people said, she's a corrupt individual, because it was actually her words saying, I have a public and private face. But when Clinton said actually to bankers, and WikiLeaks disclosed the speech transcript, and she actually admitted, I have a public and private face. It was then spun into, that's just how laws are made, and it's like a sausage, and da-da-da-da-da. No, that's normal. But then with Trump, it's, have we entered a post-truth moment? With the Democratic Party, it's okay. That's just how politics is waged. That's just politics. With Trump, it's, oh my God, did you see what he did? So the outrage meter, there's no more meter. It just blew up. It doesn't mean anything anymore. To be Democrats, when they're outraged, it's like they're always outraged over nothing. Obama destroying Libya, no problem. Trump tweets, big problem. When that's your value system, you're completely worthless as a political party. Let's wrap this up. Let's continue with Sam Nunberg. The guy is awesome.
What if people think it looks suspicious?
And that's another thing also. Who cares what people think? I started with the Clinton deleted emails. Who cares what people think? If it looks suspicious, if somebody wants to defend themselves by not succumbing to an investigation that precedes a crime, who cares if it looks suspicious to people who actually think Trump colluded with Russia without any evidence? And simply asking somebody to do something irrational and absurd, and them saying no, shouldn't be confused with, oh my God, there's suspicious activity there. Sam Nunberg is not even accused of a crime.
Let them think what they want. Let them think what they want. You know what? I'm the first person to go out here and say I'm not cooperating, because it's absolutely ridiculous what they want from me. Katie, should I spend 80 hours going over emails that I've had with Steve Bannon and Roger Stone?
If you're going to defy a grand jury subpoena, are you worried about being held in contempt of court?
I don't know, Mr. Was Brian Pagliano worried about being held in contempt? No. So why should Sam Nunberg?
Let's see what Mr. Mueller does.
Are you worried about getting arrested?
I think it would be funny if they arrested me.
Then you have, who has talked to Mueller? You have a litany of people that have nothing to do with Russian hacking. It's like these photos, it's nothing to do with Russian hacking. Anyway, that's a graphic on MSNBC.
If you're held in contempt of court, wouldn't you have higher legal bills?
Really funny if they wanted to arrest me, because I don't want to spend 80 hours going over emails I had with Steve Bannon and Roger Stone.
Steve Bannon, Roger Stone, Hope Hicks. Who else is on the list of emails that they want from you?
Oh, Katie, did I ever communicate with Carter Page? Do you think I communicated with Corey Lewandowski after November 1st, 2015? I mean, I would think Corey was the one who screwed me over and got me fired from the campaign.
What about Keith
Now,
Schiller?
Trump
What
let him
about
do
Michael
that.
Cohen? What about Donald Trump? What about those communications?
What about Brian Pagliano's 4 years of emails missing? What about the $10 billion from Haiti missing? What about the UBS deal, the UBS scandal where the IRS wanted 50,000 names? Hillary Clinton intervened as Secretary of State. Suddenly, it's a little over 4,000 names the IRS gets. And oh, by the way, there's Bill Clinton speaking engagements and money into the Clinton Foundation from UBS. What about that? Oh, gee, that's a coincidence. What about the Boeing scandal, where Hillary Clinton shamelessly lobbies on behalf of Boeing and they get a $3 billion